This week, the state's new Attorney-General, Greg Smith, emerged as the disciplinarian. A former Deputy Chief Prosecutor, Mr Smith, from the Liberal Party's David Clark Religious Right faction, announced a new punishment to give graffiti vandals a short, sharp shock. He doesn't want them jailed, but magistrates will be given the power to disqualify or limit drivers' licences for convicted graffiti vandals who willfully damage buildings, trains and public property. Greg Smith's other big event this week was the swearing-in of Tom Bathurst QC, this state's leading commercial silk, as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Shortly, the new Attorney-General. First, meet your new Chief Justice. Tom Bathurst QC, known affectionately as the Shuffling Assassin for his unmistakable gait and tennis technique, was lauded at his swearing-in on Wednesday as possessing one of this country's sharpest legal minds. He's been a leader of both the National and New South Wales Bar Associations. He's an old boy of the Jesuit St Ignatius College, Riverview, making him the 9th Riverview old boy currently on the Supreme Court. We don't know much about his politics. He's mainly worked for the big end of town in some of the most contentious commercial disputes. Most recently on behalf of one of the James Hardie directors in trouble with ASIC.
I, Thomas Frederick Bathurst, do swear that I will be faithful.
We did notice, though, that our new Chief Justice seems to be strong on states' rights and judicial independence.
As you all know, there has been a significant movement towards a national legal profession. I've been privileged, first as President of the Australian Bar Association and then as President of the New South Wales Bar Association, to be involved in some of the decisions leading towards that goal, and it is an objective which I regard as desirable. However, it cannot be achieved at the risk of the independence of the judiciary, or for that matter, the whole of the legal profession.
With me now is the Attorney-General, Greg Smith. Attorney, welcome. Why Tom Bathurst for Chief Justice? Why not sitting judges like Justice James Allsop, President of the Court of Appeal, or Justice Peter McClelland, Head of the Common Law?
All very strong contenders for the job. I just felt, and the advice I received from the various people I consulted, made me convinced that Tom Bathurst was the P for the job.
Did you interview Bathurst?
No, I didn't interview any of them.
Right.
But I knew I'd spoken with Bathurst that in recent months about other matters.
Right.
And no, I didn't. I don't think the process is to interview.
Religion would never be an issue with you when considering judicial appointments, would it? Christian, Muslim, Jew, Buddhist, atheist, makes no difference?
Not at all, as long as they're honest and have a good reputation and are able.
Why all these Riverview old boys, Attorney? With Tom Bathurst's appointment, there are now 9 on the Supreme Court. I mean, it's starting to look like branch stacking.
Well, it is, but initially I didn't have any idea where he went to school. Riverview doesn't bother me one way or the other. My reputation is not really into the Jesuitical side, but I have nothing against it. But the fact is that school has obviously produced some outstanding lawyers, and I think it's purely coincidental that there are so many.
We're a polyglot society now, multicultural. When will we see some black, brown and Asian faces on the Supreme Court bench?
Well, we'll see them when they come through as eloquent and able lawyers.
Would sexuality ever be an issue with you? I mean, you'd be happy to appoint a gay judge, all things considered?
Certainly. If that man or woman was the best person, in my opinion, just as I've promoted or taken part in promotion of people with those tendencies in the past.
You've announced this week your new punishment for graffiti vandals. Most of them are minors, we know. The courts can disqualify them or limit their driver's licences. That's a deterrent. Will it stop graffiti?
Well, we hope so. It's one of a number of things. The other thing is to get the community more involved, and the other thing is to have a statewide network, a hotline run by the police where intelligence could be centralised and processed.
I mean, catching the buggers is the biggest problem, isn't it?
Well, I think that's right, and I think really there may be occasions in the future where people who are under suspicion will be watched.
You said that you want a short, sharp shock to graffiti vandals, and they need the discipline that they've been missing. Do you really think you're going to get culture change that way? Because graffiti is not really a product of disadvantage, is it? It's a different phenomenon.
It seems to be a product of anger, among other things. Some of them do it out of anger to the rest of the community. Some of them do it out of rebelliousness. But I've found in my own life, being a character witness for other people's children, that often the experience of having to go to court and be dealt with, and the trauma that causes to the family and the flesh wound it makes to the family money, does have a salutary effect on the young offender. And I think this is another thing we're doing. The young people will have to go straight to the court rather than being warned or cautioned.
They can still be jailed for repeat offences.
Yes, they can, but
so
we haven't changed that.
You're a hard-liner on that, aren't you?
No, I'm not a hard-liner on it. That's only continuing the Act as it's been enacted by the Parliament under the previous government.
What's the hotline number? We'd like to broadcast it in the public interest.
Yes, well, I don't have it at the moment, I'm sorry.
On the government's amendment to the Industrial Relations Act, now under filibuster in the upper house, do you agree with the Premier's characterisation on this program last week that Justice Roger Boland, President of the IRC, is an activist judge and therefore his complaints about what the government is doing can be dismissed?
I agree that it's very unusual for a judge to go out publicly and defend not just his court, but matters that might or might not be sent to his court, and particularly when he's going against the COAG agreement that all states and the Commonwealth had agreed to, but New South Wales resiled from. I don't think it's so unusual at all for my Premier to make those remarks. But normally I would defend judges for acting judicially. I don't defend him. On this occasion.
On this occasion. But he's head of jurisdiction and he was defending his court's judgment against what seemed to be the government's view that he and his court and the Commission were responsible for the wages blowout. He said that is unfair.
Well, he may think that, and views may differ on that. It might be that the previous government deserves more condemnation for entering into sweetheart agreements with unions.
But why make the IRC in New South Wales a scapegoat then? Because if you look at it, he says in defence of the Commission, it should be noted that between 1995 and 2007, only two significant groups of public sector employees were the subject of arbitrated wage claims, nurses and teachers. Otherwise, it was done by agreement. Why punish the Industrial Relations Commission with this amendment?
I don't think we're punishing them at all. We're just trying to make the Industrial Relations Commission act responsibly when we're facing a crisis of finances that were left by our predecessors because of their sweetheart deals with unions, which meant that each department each year had less money to spend paying salaries and providing services, and it got to critical levels in some departments.
Finally, on the issue of mental health attorney and the judiciary, two magistrates, Brian Maloney and Jennifer Betts, have been invited to address the Bar of Parliament to show cause why they shouldn't be dismissed. I know you won't talk here about the merits, but the Judicial Commission, in making this recommendation to you, seems to be saying that if you have a mental illness which may be satisfactorily medicated, you still can't serve on the bench. Is that a rule you want to set here?
No, it's not, and I don't believe that's an accurate analysis of what they've said. I think they're saying that if your mental condition has a tendency to interfere with the way you carry out your job, then maybe you shouldn't be on the bench.
So we have to make an individual judgment about individual fitness, given the nature of the ailment.
Well, that's right, and we look at their previous conduct, and we look at whether they've maintained promises and undertakings they've given in the past, and we look at what other people have felt as to whether they felt they were treated fairly or not.
Attorney General, thanks very much.
Thanks, Quinton.